This machine will have eyes, ears, and a voice.
This is PVP Television News.
I'm going to now ask Jonathan Wilkinson, who's chairman of Montgomeryshire Against Pylons. Jonathan has been a fantastic bloke in this fight. We couldn't wish to have anybody so single-minded that we're going to win. So Jonathan, please come forward.
Thank you for making the effort to come here today. Very important. It's been a long time since that legendary rally in Cardiff. Karen woke up one morning and realised that Mid Wales had stirred, and we're still there, and we're still feeling as passionate about it now as we were then. Karen realised that when he made his plans for Mid Wales to become a wind farm landscape, as he called it, he'd forgotten one vital thing: to properly consult the communities that it was going to affect. He realised that the supposedly passive population of Mid Wales wasn't going to be pushed around. The fact that many of you were at Cardiff, and I can see many faces here that were there that day at that rally and are here again, is proof of that. The notion of community is something that neither developers or National Grid understand. Wind farm developers think they can buy off communities with community benefits, otherwise known as bribes. National Grid think community is about turning up at a village hall, and when the natives don't comply, they send in the thugs. The behaviour of National Grid's hired hands over the past few weeks has exposed them for what they are, little better than playground bullies. This morning is a chance for us to show the inspector that we will not stoop to this level. Please make your feelings heard over the next hour, or next certainly half an hour, because by the end of this inquiry, the inspector should be in no doubt as to how passionate we all feel about where we live and the businesses and landscape that we are seeking to protect.
Now I'd like to call upon Alison Davis, chairman of Conservation of Uplands Powys. Alison has been a big fighter in this for a long, long time, and like Jonathan, she is single-minded that we're going to win this battle.
We've been fighting to save this magnificent landscape, but not because we just think it shouldn't be spoilt here, but because we know wind farms are a nonsense. It's only by us standing up and fighting that we haven't already got a wind farm landscape here in Mid Wales. And we have to keep this fight going. We've been doing it now for nearly 20 years, as I said, and we know this isn't going to end just with this inquiry. This inquiry is starting today, and we have to keep up our opposition and turn up at the inquiry, learn about what the opposition are saying and what we are saying over the next 12 months, and beyond that. There are other applications, not just the ones that are coming into this inquiry, but there are another 7 that Powys are considering this year, and there are others. Keep looking at these applications. Consider whether you think any of these are justified, apart from putting money into the pockets of the few. They are not going to provide us with electricity, and we're going to end up in a situation with no lights where they're holding the public inquiries if we leave it to them. We are going to be raising money, we're going to be holding consultation, we're going to be doing a lot more activity over the year, and we need your help. We've needed your help all the way, and this is not a matter of Jonathan, me, or any other named individuals. It's all of us together. We have to show the Welsh Assembly and also, well, in fact, the Welsh Government, because as we know, the Assembly comprises of many people who agree with us, and also Westminster, that this is not the way forward. The planning inspector's job is to provide a report which will have recommendations in it. So his recommendations are what the Secretary of State will take into account to make the decision as to whether this application should be refused. So we have to give him the evidence so that he can then recommend refusal.
I'd just like to read you a quote from television presenter Sian Lloyd. She sent this yesterday. She says, "As you know, you have my full support in fighting the folly of the great wind scam and one of the biggest lunacies of our times. You don't need to tell me that wind farms are as disastrous as they are farcical, destroying our precious Mid Wales landscape and producing a derisory amount of electricity. Green gimmickry at its worst. We must fight every step of the way to prevent Mid Wales from being sacrificed on the altar of this false religion. We have to bring home to people just how grotesquely inefficient and costly wind turbines are as a way of making electricity. They don't even fill their declared purpose of reducing CO2 emissions. We must grasp every opportunity to expose the futility of wind power. We must show that local democracy can conquer rich and powerful companies. We must fight to the bitter end to prevent them from littering our green and pleasant land with useless piles of steel and concrete. We can win, and we will win. Onwards and upwards. I'd now like to call upon Russell George, who's been leading the fight, as you know, all the way. Russell is tremendous in Cardiff, challenging Carwyn Jones at every opportunity.
Today is another milestone date in our campaign to stop the destruction of our beautiful countryside. And you know what? Sometimes people say to me, isn't this just about not in my backyard? But what I say is this: my backyard is a very special place. I believe it's one of the most beautifulest parts of the country, and I make no apology for defending it. I remember in Cardiff, the big sea of people then, and it just brings back memories today. All the raise the signs up high, will you? That's it. But today, our MP, Glyn Davis, is in Westminster speaking. He hopes very much to speak in the energy bill debate, and I know we wish him well. He's asked me to pass on a message today, and also we've got words from a former Member of Parliament for Montgomeryshire, Lord Carlisle, who's also passed words on today to read out. So first of all, from Glyn Davis. Since the Welsh Government published its renewable energy planning guidelines in 2005, Mid Wales has been under threat as never before from unsuitable, expensive, pointless development of multiple wind farms and 100 miles of power lines. Families and communities have been divided as financial opportunity and environmental desecration has influenced opinion. I will continue my fight to prevent this appalling Mid Wales Connection project going ahead. I hope thousands of people who have been part of the protest movement will stand by the barricades with me. It is outrageous that the voice of Montgomeryshire, expressed through its councillors, assembly member and member of parliament, should be trampled on as it has been. I genuinely believe that we have forced government to think again. We must continue the fight until this terrible threat to our communities is defeated. And the words of Lord Carlisle of Berriew: I place my trust in this inquiry to examine the evidence critically and soundly. This should show how the huge-scale wind farms proposed would bring unacceptable damage to the landscape and integrity of Mid Wales. But can I say, and I genuinely mean this, we are having an impact. We've moved a long way from 2 years ago. Alison said before, it's not the Welsh Assembly who are all against us here. 25% of the Assembly are with us. And also, we're having huge an impact in Westminster as well. So don't believe for one moment that our voices are not being heard, because they are.
Thank you, Russell. We're approaching 25 to 9, and we're going to now, in an orderly fashion, if you could allow the our marshals to go forward first.
Pass it, Dave.
No wind farms! No wind farms! No wind farms! No wind farms!
No wind farms!
No wind farms!
One county that's been fighting this equally as passionately as ourselves is Radnorshire, and I do apologise, it is really Mid Wales. It's Mid Wales against the opposition, so well done Radnorshire. You can come forward a bit closer please, so to allow the people at the back.
No more wind, we say no. No more wind, we say no. No more wind, we say no.
Reading out what the actual petition says. We support the Alliance in its objections to all the wind farm applications and the 132 kV line application that will form the basis of a public inquiry due to begin in Welshpool. We further support the Alliance in its application to the Department of Energy and Climate Change to ensure that the inquiry, when it begins, will include all associated overhead power lines and the proposed national grid hub at Kevencock and the 400 kV pylons from the hub through the beautiful Vyrnwy Valley and North Shropshire. Our landscape is our greatest asset, and the proposals for massive wind farms, some with turbines more than 443 feet, the height of the London Eye, will completely ruin the beauty of Mid Wales countryside, and in addition, the associated infrastructure will create miles of new concrete roads, scarring our uplands, plus new overhead pylons and the national grid hub at Kevencock. Also, there will be traffic chaos during the construction period, which could take up to 7 years to complete. Not only will our countryside be trashed, but also the economy of Mid Wales will badly suffer as a consequence. This was the wording for the petition, of which over 7,500 people have signed. And now I've got Nick Knight, the editor, and his senior reporter Richard Jones here. They have been absolutely fantastic in this fight, and I think they all deserve a huge...
Just to confirm, I will then hand this to the inspector, and it will be submitted to the inquiry as an informal inquiry document, as the petition.
Could you tell them that there are now getting on for 8,000 reasons there why the people that live in this Wales don't want them?
Yeah, I think he'll understand that. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay.
Hand over, yeah? Okay, so we put up Jonathan Wilkinson.
Okay, well I'll do one with you two first, and if we get Jonathan, yeah, I'll just do one with you. Okay, I just want to...
I'll ensure I end up on the cutting room floor. The other one.
the first day of the inquiry. This is the day we've all been waiting for, and this is when we get a chance, through the Alliance and through the barrister that we've appointed, David Smith, to make our case against the applicants. So that's the applicants for the 5 large wind farms, and also ManWeb's proposal to put a high voltage line from Llandinam to the substation at Welshpool. So it's our chance to make our case. Powys County Council will also be defending their position, because they of course rejected the 5 applications plus the line when they came before them. Well, we're looking at an inquiry that probably won't deliver a verdict until November 2014. So it seems like an incredible time, but that's almost 18 months. They won't be sitting the whole time, of course. They're going to be here for 4 days now with the inspector. Then there'll be a break until September, and then the proceedings proper will begin then.
You've got speakers at the back? There are, yes. And not at the back, I don't think there's any speakers at the back now.
Can we ask you, just point out to people that the rooms at the side are available for members of the public?
Documentation for the inquiry was also been forwarded through to the Secretary of State for the information.
Well, my name is Andrew Poulter. I'm an architect, and I'm also the inspector appointed to conduct this inquiry. And ultimately, I'll be preparing a report and recommendations to the Department of Energy and Climate Change. On my left is Mr. Emir Jones. He's an engineer, also an inspector, and he will be assisting me throughout the inquiry. The inquiry is into 6 applications which have been made under the Electricity Act of 1986. These are, and I'll read them out just briefly, an application by Vattenfall, dated 30th of November 2007, for consent under Section 36 of the Act to construct and operate a wind turbine generating station in Powys, known as Llanbadarn Fynydd. An application from Fen Windllaeth D. Cuff, dated 7th of May 2008, for consent under Section 36 to construct a 66.7 megawatt wind turbine generating station, known as Llaeth D. An application by Kelp Power, dated 9th of May 2008, again under that Act, for consent to construct and operate a 126 megawatt wind turbine generating station known as Llandinam. An application by RES UK and Ireland Limited, that is for a 100 megawatt wind turbine generating station known as Llanbryn Mawr. An application by RWE Npower Renewables for consent to construct and operate a 130 to 250 megawatt wind turbine generating station known as Carnarth Wen, and an application by SP ManWeb for consent under Section 37 of that Act to install and keep installed a 132 kilovolt overhead electric line connection from the proposed Llandinam wind farm to the Welshpool substation. So those are the applications that we'll be looking at.
Russell, good turnout today. First day of the inquiry, would you like to comment a little bit about it?
Well, I think we had a very good turnout this morning, and what it demonstrates again is that the people of Montgomeryshire are united in this fight. I mean, and this is a fight to stop the destruction of our beautiful landscapes. I had several reports from constituents that had been directly approached by bailiffs and from third parties that had been approached by bailiffs in an inappropriate way, using inappropriate language. This is a question that I raised with the First Minister Carwyn Jones just 2 weeks ago, and he gave a commitment at that point to make his own inquiries with National Grid. I think National Grid have accepted that this kind of behaviour is not acceptable, and obviously tensions are very high in communities, but the companies involved have got to act in a professional way.
This machine will have eyes, ears, and a voice.